Supernatural Season 11 premiere, Out of Darkness, Into the Fire. So, of course, I got my little necklace here, protected by Sam and Dean, it says on the back. This doesn't mean anything anymore. This sigil, that's not going to help anybody this season. And I think this was a pretty cool first episode. It wasn't like super insane or super unbelievably amazing or anything like that. They definitely did what I expected them to do as far as personifying the darkness into a certain body. A huge twist that it's a baby. Really cool twist actually, because it's like, it's just weird. It was like we had this body of the darkness. It was this woman, and then for whatever reason, which, the questions of course is brought up at the end, why this baby? Like, why was the darkness transferred into this baby? Why not just, it was seen as a twister because we have the father of the baby, Mara. He's like, it was a twister, like this twister hit, and then I ran back inside. So it stopped at this city, and I guess that's what happened. It takes over this baby, and that's it. Like, that's why the darkness stopped at that city. And I kind of wish it didn't, to be totally honest, because I love the zombie-ness of this episode, to be completely honest. I thought, this is really what I wanted to see. I was hoping that it would kind of be like this, because I've been waiting a lot for the sort of Roanoke type stuff, where we see everyone going insane, and this is very similar to that, and I loved it. I was like, this is really cool. I keep trying to remember, I'm pretty sure we technically already passed the future episode from like seasons ago, where like Roanoke had basically, the Croatoan virus had destroyed the future and people were just going nuts. I think we already passed that before, but that could be right now. I'm pretty sure we passed it though. But either way, it was really awesome. I was like, this is cool. This is what I really wanted to see. And I was hoping, like I said, that it would just continually spread, because that would be insane for the season. If it was just like some people were infected, it was basically if you were inside of something, you weren't hit. But if you were out in the open, it was like kind of like an actual tornado. It would just, like the wind, it basically hitting you would turn you evil. So I love that. I thought that was a cool aspect. And it made it where it was easy to have people who were infected, but it also made it really easy for people to be uninfected. So I thought that could totally work this season. Unfortunately, like I said, it did stop at the one town, because I would have just loved to see like the whole season be like, what the heck are we going to do? If it really was like the Croatoan virus, it would, I guess technically in a sense, way worse, but probably easier, since we find out just in this first episode alone, people that are infected just die off. Like, they get infected, it takes a couple hours to fully go insane, and then hours after that, they just go and they die. They choke and die, and then blood pours out of their mouths. So we have to find a cure for this, especially for Sam, which we all knew that was going to happen. I thought for sure that the darkness was sort of a latent type of thing, where it was just like, oh, you're infected, and it just takes time. Like, it's just like, you're infected and it takes time. I didn't think it was going to be, you got infected like a zombie virus. I thought he was going to be infected from the start of the season, and it was going to show, like, boom, he's infected, Dean's gone, because of course he released the darkness, so the darkness thanks him and is basically friends with him. It's like they were about to kiss at the end, which was kind of funny. It was just like, she got like super close. But we have this thing that spreads like a zombie virus. If there's blood on you, you're pretty much infected, and even other infected people know it, which was kind of a cool scene. Like, and they burst in, and I thought he was gonna have another crazy fight scene, and they hold him, and then the woman sniffs him, and it's like, oh, you're one of us now, like, see ya. And they just leave, because they knew once he killed the woman, which is an awesome way for him to get infected, by the way. I thought it was going to be like any zombie show ever, and it's like, oh, I got scratched. He killed her and slit her throat open, and her blood spilled in his mouth. I was like, that sucks for him, of course, but that's actually a really cool way to do it. And, that's how he got out of it. He did, what hunters do, and he survived. And in this case, that's how he got infected. Now that I think about it, it kind of makes me think of the trials that he did when he had to kill one of the Hellhounds. Very similar to that, except it was just like, it was almost the reverse, where all that, he had like a ton of blood on him, but it was like all neck down. And then this was like the opposite, it was like a splash, and it was like right in his mouth, and then it's like, oh, that sucks. So we have infected Sam, which of course we all knew. We have him in the next episode, he's going to be praying and stuff like that, and we'll see. And now that this has happened, it has me really curious. It kind of changes a lot of my ideas for what was going to happen, because when I thought Sam was going to be infected initially, and it was just like the start of the season, Dean's gone, Sam's infected, I just thought, okay, he's infected, but it's like, it'll take forever for him to go crazy. They'll have the whole season. And it's like, no, we have a couple of hours, and Sam's going to turn, or, supposedly he's going to turn. He'll most likely be saved. I think they kind of said it in the ending line between the Darkness and Dean, where she was like, you helped me, and I helped you, and we will always help each other, while we're around. That's what we're going to do. We're bonded forever now. So, as soon as she said that, I was like, well, he's probably going to have her help Sam. And then that kind of changed a little bit, because now she's basically in the body of a newborn. It's like, does she understand things? Is it strictly a baby's mind and mentality? Like, I'm very curious as to how this is happening. I don't think she can. I think it's possession on a very strict basis, and I think that's what took place. She had this body, somehow, who knows, she had a body. And so then she goes as a tornado, she finds this body, and then she personifies herself, and she basically possesses one specific body. And much like Crowley in this episode, where he's hopping back and forth, she doesn't get that opportunity. Much like, or opposite, I should say, of Crowley, where he's hopping back and forth. She can't do that. She has one body, and then, who knows, maybe if that body's killed, she gets to jump to the next body. But she gets one body, and she has to make her choice, and that will let her live the longest, at least in that body. But if that were the case, then she would just choose an adult. So it brings up another big question, like, why this newborn baby? So I love that concept. It was something really new. If this is like a permanent possession type of deal, once again, it's like, does she comprehend stuff because she's the ancient darkness? I love the dialogue too, when Dean's like, death told me about you, and she's like, I don't know this death, and he does not know me. I just like that line, because she's just in this world. And of course, the way they portrayed her, she didn't seem evil. She was almost like just new, and she was almost like a newborn kid, where it's just like, no, like, she knows obviously words, she just knows English, of course. But it was just interesting, like the way they did the character, which it kind of sucks that I'm assuming we aren't going to see that woman again unless we get more flashbacks throughout the season, which I don't think we will. But just the way it was acted, I thought was really well done, and I thought it was cool what the dialogue was, because it was really weird. It wasn't evil, and there was like no mention of like the big fight or any of that stuff, which I definitely thought was going to happen. And it was pretty much just like the whole death thing. It was just like, I don't know who Death is, he doesn't know me. And that was it. There wasn't anything like, I know this, or I know that, or I've dealt with these things, or, this giant ancient battle. It was just like, I don't know Death, he does not know me. And we're bonded, and that's pretty much it. I helped you, you released me, I helped you. Seemingly okay person, like, consciously speaking. But of course, Black Tornado comes, swinging through the city, unless you're in a car or just covered by whatever. Apparently, only road crew people, which I thought was kind of funny. I thought for sure when they got attacked at the end of this episode, when Sam was going to fight those people, I was like, if these are just road crew people, I'm going to laugh. But it wasn't the third time. But I was like, man, the road crew, this is the first people they run into, is the road crew. The guy in the closet with his daughter was being attacked by a road crew member. We didn't, oddly enough, he mentioned that a road crew, another grouping, I guess, of road crew people showed up to the hospital, but we only saw that one guy. Like, even of dead bodies, we didn't see other road crew members, but it was definitely just kind of funny. I was like, man, the road crew is just road workers are getting represented in this one. So I just thought that was kind of funny, but I thought it was really cool. I love the zombie aspect. Like I said, this episode wasn't like phenomenal, like be all end all episodes, which I don't think any show ever really is when it's the premiere. I think, it's obviously it's the finale is like the be all end all, and then that just leaves all the questions for the next season, and then we get our hype going, for the next season, and then it starts up, and it was like I said, I actually did really enjoy this episode because they did something I wanted to see for a long time, which flat out was just real devastation. Of course, like I said, I wish it did keep going, or I wish maybe if it was just a whole state, if we had like at least 3 episodes where it was just like one state that they were trapped in and they escape, and then it's like it's spreading to other states slowly, like it could be very slowly, and that would have been fine. But if it was like 2 or 3 episodes just trapped, which I think we are gonna get, because we do still have Sam. There are a couple of scenes of him like in a church. I'm pretty sure that's gonna take place in the hospital, so that is in the very next episode, and he might run into other people, and maybe we'll get to see him and Dean run into others together, and it'll be before Sam tells him, because they always have the secrets. But who knows? He might tell him, he might not. He did, of course, he didn't over the phone because it just happened. But we'll see how all that stuff plays out between them, keeping their secrets and stuff like that. But I did really enjoy it because of what they did. It was just mass chaos. It was just like zombie outbreak style, and it was really well done. I thought it was pretty cool. So love that. We have this new baby as a main character, which is very interesting. That was what I enjoyed. They did a lot of things. They may have been little things, but they were definitely new things that we've never seen for the show. So I love that. The zombie virus thing, technically we'd seen with the Croatoan stuff, but we actually got it, and it's like officially in the timeline. It's not like, oh, they went to the future, or it was just one episode and they dealt with it, or I guess there was a couple episodes where they dealt with the Roanoke stuff, which I always love. That's honestly one of my favorite things. I don't know why, but the whole Roanoke thing it's always like mass devastation, and I think that's why I always like the Croatoan virus, because it was always really tough for them to beat, and it's always like a full city whenever it happens. It's never like, oh, there's like a couple of people infected. It's like, nope, this whole city is on shutdown, and we gotta escape. So maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much, because it reminds me of the Croatoan, and that's never simple. It's like it was dead bodies all over this hospital. They drove from this insane crash site with all these road crew members and this family that was murdered, and they went all the way through this town to the hospital, and it's the exact same thing. And I like that sort of desolate wasteland kind of feel, and we don't get that very often in Supernatural, despite how much we really should, because of the insane things they go up against. We don't. So I love seeing that. I like the way they did the flashbacks in this, where we got to see Sam's flashbacks and then Dean's flashbacks, and just visually the way they did it, where it basically just they moved the camera and then it panned behind them. I just thought that was kind of cool. Or it transitioned behind them and it panned away from them. But I like the way they pulled that off. I thought that was pretty cool. We also got to see it with Cass, who, of course, I was excited for. Evil Cass. He's not as evil as I thought. Slightly disappointed, to be totally honest. I wanted him to be like full on, even if he recognized it, just to be evil and not be able to control it. But he can control it for the most part. I mean, he could have easily killed that kid, and he just was basically like, get this shotgun out of my face, and he kept walking. And I love the fact that he prayed to his brothers and sisters. That was really cool. And surprisingly, that led straight to him being captured. I did not think him being tortured and stuff was going to be episode 2 of this season, but apparently it will be, because these random angels come in, they kidnap him. Who knows what the deal is with that? Maybe they're with Metatron. Maybe they just hate Cass, which a lot of angels still do. So that could easily be the answer. I wouldn't even... It wouldn't even be an issue. It'd be like, well, I have pretty much those 2 options. Either they're with Metatron or they just hate him on their own. So either way, there's hate. There's a lot of ill will towards Cass. So he's been captured. We have Crowley, who... very quickly, of course it's Crowley just being smart, He escapes his body, possesses this woman. I love the scene that they had when he does get rescued, and they're like, you called us in. We have, you know, he's the we have like a set of demons and a witch removing the immobilization curse put on on the former body, and then it's just like, so you're in trouble and on the run from an angel and possibly the most powerful witch ever, and you call for help after the orgy. And it was just a funny scene. It was like, it's just Crowley like doing stuff. So I love that scene. I don't know if they had the one dude bent over the bed as an implication that he put the crowbar up his butt, but that was what I saw, because they had the crowbar on the bed and then, or on the couch, and the guy was bent over the couch. I don't know, but he was in an orgy as a woman, which just makes it even more interesting, because of course he was initially a guy, so certain things have to happen in an orgy when you're the opposite sex. So it's just Crowley. It's like, I just wanted to have some fun, and then I just killed 3 people in a room with a crowbar. It was interesting. I definitely enjoyed that. Or a tire iron. It wasn't exactly a crowbar. But that was really funny. I love that scene. Of course, he gets his body back. It wasn't anything. Honestly, his portion of this episode was strictly Crowley comedy. It was just like, he got to a new body, and then he was going to kill all the people in the house, and then it's like, oh, an orgy. And then he has an orgy and then kills the people afterwards and gets his body back, and it's like, alright, that's it. That was his whole thing this episode. And I loved it. I thought that was just really funny. It's like, he almost died, and he just went to new body, found out there was an orgy, have the orgy, and then tell everyone what's happening. And in his storyline, I guess this was really the biggest thing that happened, despite just the silliness that went on with him. We did actually get mentioning of the cage, and that was awesome. It wasn't, of course, anything breaking free or anything like that, but there was mention, rumors of what seemed like a crying animal or a screaming animal or something, and people in hell believe that either Lucifer or Michael, one of them, is trying to warn everyone about the darkness. So I love that. Crowley, of course, completely denies the darkness because he believes it's just a myth, and no one else really knows about it because it went into this little baby Amara, and it stopped in that city, which still has more people, and we don't know how many people are going to be there. Like I said, with Sam having been infected, we might get to see more inside the hospital that he has to deal with, but he won't necessarily have to deal with them because they all, they'll know he's infected. But we'll see how it all plays out. I did enjoy this opening episode. I don't know, for some reason, if it's even remotely Croatoan, I love it. It's because that always seems to be the thing that makes the guys have to run. Is like the Croatoan virus is just like the worst. So I even remotely that, I love it, and that's the whole villain. Even though it's now in this baby, so I think it's been like super personified. Like most other things, like we all know, it's like huge crazy thing personified, and now it's like personified because it's a baby. So I don't know how it's gonna play out. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like we have this new FBI agent who's really young, or not FBI agent, but just cop. So she's taking care of the baby. She's with her grandmother. They're gonna play a role in this season, and even in the preview for the second episode, it's Dean and Crowley talking, and we get to see Crowley in the priest outfit. So I'm guessing his idea was to go to the house and be like, "Oh, I'm the priest, yada yada yada, dead parents, kill this baby," and he might even say that exactly because it's Crowley. But they already know in the second episode that the baby is probably the personified version of the darkness. So I don't know how that's going to play out, where they already have the answer, unless this season is going to be them trying to figure out whether or not to kill the baby, which sounds cool in concept, but for 20 episodes that would be insane and annoying. So I'm actually really curious to see what's going to take place after this next episode, because that's of course going to be the point. Like, do we kill this baby, do we not, in the second episode? And then there's going to have to be something else there that kind of keeps things going, outside of us getting to see Rowena, who we didn't get to see, as well as Metatron, who is still out there Who knows? And I feel like he would have a lot of answers. Rowena probably not because she's not that old, but Metatron might have some answers that no one else really has. Like they called Cass and he didn't know anything about it, and so Metatron might have some answers. Cass didn't. Well, we don't know if Cass knows because it was basically, oh, angels are here. Might be a while before I see you guys, and then he hangs up. So he might have some answers, but I feel like he'd have the same answer as Crawley, really, where it's like, oh, it's said to be this, and it's basically a legend or a myth. But I think Metatron might have some real answers. So I'm excited to see what they do, how we get these new villains coming back in, how we get, brand new villains as well outside of the darkness, of course, who I don't know, may or may not be an actual villain. I know it's the darkness, it infects people, but is it trying to? Like, that's the thing. Like, is it consciously good, but it's just a product of its creation and existence that it hurts other people? Because that would make it an interesting villain as well. Like, the devil's interesting because he's just funny and insane. It's almost like a Joker sort of thing, but this would just be like, holy crap, it's someone who's basically evil but doesn't even understand being evil in this context, I don't think. So I'm excited to see where things go. Like I said, I enjoyed this premiere. It wasn't like mind blowing, but it was definitely fun. And they definitely did do some new stuff. Like the personification being this baby is very different than it being, oh, here's another adult, which it totally was in the beginning. Like, oh, there was the personification thing. Like, I knew that was going to happen. And then at the end, it's like, oh, it's a baby now. Very different. They have the answer. They could, if it's really the darkness 100%, just boom, there goes that baby. But it's also a baby that's totally different. It's just one of those mental things, like an old philosophy type question. Like, you have the answer, but the answer is killing a baby. So I can't wait to see how they play around with this stuff. Excited for the season, of course. I love the show, but I want to know what you guys thought about this premiere, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And, of course, I got to ask you guys, what do you think is going to happen with this baby? Like, is it going to... I don't think they're going to kill the baby. Plain and simple, I just don't, because it's a baby. If anything, it's going to be Sam. He's going to stop it, despite the fact that he's infected now. And I'd love to see what they end up coming up with for some sort of cure. I don't think it'll be an official cure, but it's got to be something, I would assume. But I don't know. I'm kind of just out there, like, just the fact that it's even a baby brings up the whole, can it even recognize what it is, or that any of this stuff has happened now that I guess the darkness moved from one body to the next. So that's where my head's at, but I want to know what you guys thought. So like I said, please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.